Hi there, I'm Denise Eshenaur. I am a clinical social worker at Empowering People's Independence in Rochester, New York, a part of the Epilepsy Alliance of West Central New York. And today we're going to talk about epilepsy and bullying, strategies for supporting students with epilepsy to navigate bullying situations. Studies show that children with epilepsy were more frequently victims of bullying than were their classmates or students with other chronic illnesses. This is probably not too surprising, but it's really important for us to pay attention to because it points out that we have opportunities for support. So support, what helps? What can we do? Research shows that the most effective interventions are to provide epilepsy first aid training for teachers and staff. We got to hear a little bit about that from Lydia. To encourage teachers to create a supportive classroom environment, to teach students about epilepsy, and to empower students with epilepsy to be advocates. So let's break this down a little bit. Helping the faculty and the staff. Provide all school faculty and staff with epilepsy first aid training. We have talked about that being a really important part. It helps people to feel confident about knowing what to do and how to respond. And it is just a good, responsible thing for us to do. Reinforcing the fact that children who have situations that others don't fully understand are more likely targets of bullying, and this includes epilepsy. Again, this is probably something that teachers are aware of, but it's not a bad idea for us to flag this for them so that they might be better prepared to watch for anything that's going on and to respond if need be. And then also, just all of this helps to demystify the condition of epilepsy and encourage a helping mindset. I think we are all a little bit uneasy about things that we don't fully understand. We don't know what to do with. It's a little bit scary. If we can make responding to seizures a pretty normal thing, everybody is in a better place to respond appropriately and helpfully and to just be that support that we really need. Next, talking about supporting all students. Teaching about epilepsy and epilepsy first aid in all classrooms, not just where there is a student with epilepsy. There is a first-time seizure for everybody, and it could happen in a classroom with someone who has never had one before. It's important that everybody have a really good understanding about what to do and what not to do to be a support to someone who is having a seizure. It's also important that adults respond quickly and consistently to stop the bullying behavior that might be going on in the school. This is true for kiddos with epilepsy and really for anybody. Sending this message that it is not acceptable. This can help to end the bullying behavior over time and create a culture of safety, which is what we all want. It's what all teachers want for sure. Then supporting the student with epilepsy. Parents, faculty, and staff can let the student know that they are supportive advocates and they'll be there to help with situations as they arise. Support can look different. It might be just knowing how to respond appropriately to a seizure. It might be intervening if people are aware of bullying behavior. Support might also look like making sure that we are doing everything that we can to include people with epilepsy and the things that they want to do and not have it be just a blanket, well, they have seizures, they can't possibly go swimming. No. Let's back up and see what kinds of problem solving we can do. Being that advocate to support someone is really, really important. Have a general problem solving mindset. Don't assume that the answer is always no. So now for parents, for parents and for their children, we've talked about a systems approach. We've talked about schools. What about individually? What can you do to help your child as an individual? So let's talk about some of the signs that a child might be bullied. And I know a lot of these things are things that any kid could display at any time, but collectively, there's something to pay attention to. So acting differently. Seeming anxious, maybe not sleeping well, maybe not eating as they usually do, not doing things that they normally love to do, choosing not to do things that they love to do, seeming a little bit moody, maybe a little bit more sensitive, avoiding certain situations. You can kind of imagine that if there was a negative experience in a certain group, that a kid might say, I don't want to do that anymore. So that might cue us that something is going on even before a child says, hey, I'm having a problem at school or in this group. How are we going to respond? How are we going to be helpful? The first thing I think is to listen carefully, to learn what's happening at school or in your child's social circles. I know we're always trying to listen, but it's an important piece of things. Make sure that your child knows that you care about their situation, you hear their concerns, and you consider their feelings to be really important. And then validate the feelings, validate the situation. It sounds like you're feeling pretty yucky about this. It sounds like people are being unkind to you. It sounds like you're feeling pretty nervous about going back to that group. Any of those things can help, and it gives the child the opportunity to kind of help correct if we're not getting it right. Yeah, I don't know if I feel really anxious. I feel really sad. Anyway, it's a good first place to start. Ask. Yes. So we're going to ask our child if they have any ideas for how they would like to see things handled if there's something that makes them uncomfortable. Sometimes kids have very specific ideas about things that might help and things that might make things worse. They're not always right. They might not be universally accurate, but that it gives us valuable data, even if it's not a completely accurate interpretation. And I guess I'm talking about things like who to go to, who in the school should you go to ask for help, and what's going on. Sometimes kids have a very good read on these things. And knowing that can help us to decide as adults how best to approach the situation with the school system or the social group or the whatever, the activity group leaders. Praising your child for talking about these very difficult things is important. It's not easy to talk about things that make us feel unsafe and vulnerable, and talking about times when we feel like things did not go well. We already feel vulnerable because we've been a victim of bullying, possibly, but then to have to talk about it again can feel really, really hard. Sometimes it can feel really good too, but it's important to praise kids for being willing to do this because it's not easy. It's especially true as kids are heading toward adolescence. They feel like they're supposed to handle things themselves. They want to handle things themselves. And that's not bad. That's developmentally appropriate. However, there are times when they really need the support of an adult to help. What do we say to our kids? Guidance for kids. If you feel unsafe or targeted, please tell an adult. This is what we're telling our children. Avoid the people who are displaying this bullying behavior. Stick with friends. Use the buddy system. That has a couple of different good things. So first, I think being around friends gives you extra support. You've got a wingman, a wingwoman, someone who's going to be there to be a support to you. If someone is coming up to you, you have a witness. You have somebody else who can describe what's going on. You have somebody else who might be able to help intervene. And you are less likely to be approached by a bully if you are in a group of people. So lots of good reasons to stick together if you're able to do that. This next one is hard, holding the angry responses to the bullying behavior, because bullies tend to thrive on getting that reaction. They thrive on that angry response that is so easy to be the first thing that we do. It can make them feel more powerful. Look what I just made you do. You look really angry and you're stomping and you're balling up your fists and you're really angry. Ha, 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 ha. If you can find a way to just be neutral, that is a really good way to just not reinforce the bully's behavior. And at the same time, calmly but firmly tell the bully to stop. Remove yourself from the situation. You're not going to hang out with that. You're not going to be a part of that. You're going to walk away with your friends. Then talk to some adults about it. Your parents, your teachers, your mentors, your group leaders, anybody who is an adult involved in that social situation or over that group. Let them know that this is something that's going on so that they can help to watch for things, be available to intervene, and just not tolerate this. It is not okay. Then we've identified that there are some problems. It's important to help to rebuild some confidence for our children. Bullying tends to cause people to doubt themselves, question why they might be targeted, and that can kind of start a negative spiral. So we want to stop that, and we want to work to rebuild confidence. It helps to spend time with people who understand us, and who will be able to remind us that we're wonderful and valuable human beings. They do not deserve to be treated that way. It is important to do things that are fun and engaging, and make sure that we're looking for opportunities for our students to feel good about themselves, about their talents, about their interests. Finding ways to rebuild all of that can help us to feel better when we have to go into those situations where we might encounter people who are being less than kind to us. And I would also just kind of throw in a plug, if you're feeling like things are really not great, you can always enlist the help of a professional. Talk to the school psychologist, school counselor, find another person in the community. That can help to rebuild some confidence in kids who are really struggling. And please know that we at API are here to help. Your local epilepsy services organizations can be a great resource for information. We can affirm that, yes, your experience is common. We can validate all the things that are going on. Lots of social support, lots of great programs for kids and families, lots of good things. We want to be there for you and for your family. Epilepsy is not in charge, and neither are the bullies. Thank you.